All right, everyone, here's our really early beta of our rankings and lineup generator. Keep in mind, this is just so you guys can give us some feedback and play with it. It's not completely fleshed out, but enough of it's working that I wanted to bring it out to you guys. So you'll see here the how it works button. This will bring you to the blog post that I'm putting this video on. In the future, we'll have a in-depth video pop up on the screen right in front of you. You're going to be able to select your pricing. Right now we have it set to only DraftKings is working. Your time frame up to 16 events back. We'll set it to 12, which is what we use for our survival guide. And then what you're going to have is you're going to have two sections here. You're going to have a recent form section and a course history section, and then you're going to have a weight for each of those. Let's say you want it to go 80-20. If you type in 80% here, what it'll do is it'll automatically make it 100% here. So you have 80-20 on the split right there. For the recent form, what you're going to edit there is you're going to be looking at performance input, strokes gained input, and key indicators. And then this slider, which again we have to clean up, will be how much of a weight for each you want to do. So for here, let's say you want to do 80% finish position and 20% based on scoring in DraftKings. 80, it'll show the 20 just like that. Set the slider, which we're going to make it set so that it's in 5-10 increments, so it's a lot easier and it'll show. But we'll set this to say 60% of the input here. If you want to, it'll automatically go to 100 on all of those. We'll just set it 20 on each of them for now. We'll set this to call it 20. So we got 60, 20, 80% there. And then here, you're going to have all your key indicators. You can look at driving, proximity, putting, scoring. So all these features right here, you'll be able to have part of the model that you want to create. For simplicity, we'll just put 100% on average proximity here. Set this to the final 10% of everything that you have for recent form. Hit done, and that loads it in here. For course history, you click on that, and then we can basically pick what courses we want to use for that aspect. In this case, we'll use Club de Golf Chapultepec. Click that, click off, and it'll basically take all of these stats, but at this course for that percent of the model there. And then for turf selection, I'm calling it bent. I know people listen bent and POA, so we'll pick both of those. And you can basically select how much weight do you want the stats to use, stats from only turf and stats from everything. So we'll just call it 50%. So half the stats are going to come based on when they're on this turf. The other half is going to come from everything else in the form there. Get default values. It's preset right now, but I'm going to have some more options there as well. Reset will basically clear everything off. Secret stat will be if you want to include that as part of your as part of the model, our little bit of add-on to the model there to include secret stat or not. And from this point, you're pretty much set to go, and you can hit submit. And we've seen it take anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute and a half, depending on what the input is. And I know a minute and a half sounds like a lot, but remember, when you're crunching the numbers for all these different weights and all these different inputs, and then we have our back-end model, which helps regulate, and that was actually pretty quick there. It only took about 20 seconds, and it's going to give you a quick output here. So what you're going to have is all the players. You're going to have it generally supposed to sort here by the score. So you can see, it's pretty close to, I think, what you'd expect for this week. It's pretty close to our survival guide, although it's not going to be perfect. We don't have everything locked in there. You're going to see the ownership that we have projected on the low end and the high end. You can sort by the recent form score, the course history score, the price, and then what's neat is, as soon as you're done there, you can come over to the lineup section. If you don't want to look at just the scores, I don't have it set right now, but you'll be able to click rank, and it'll give you all the ranks instead of these raw scores. So you'll be able to just quickly identify what the rank is on each of the players. So we'll have that updated. This will spit out as many lineups as you want. If you want to do 5, if you want to do 200, it will do both. It'll do it fairly quickly. Let's hit 10. You can set the budget constraint right here. You hit generate. It's going to load up instantly like that. It's going to tell you based on the score who the best are under the time frame. So you see Rahm, Noren, Dufner, RCB, Perez, and Brendan Grace would be the highest total score. And then one last feature which we still have to flesh out are these check boxes over here, and there'll be more information on that. But the only one that's working right now is this far end one. And the way that works is this will basically disclude a player from it. So like as you can see, Jon Rahm basically made all of these. But let's say we didn't want Jon Rahm. You'd click this one, goes with the red there, and then we hit generate again. It'll run it, and as you can see, there's no Jon Rahm in the lineups there. So the same concept for these three will be, this one is you have to have them. This one will be, use a lot of. This one would be only use a little bit of. We still have to add that code in there, and it's just maybe another day or so, a couple of days for that. And then again, we'll clean up a lot of the way that some of this looks. But as you can see, it's working, and we're going to be adding a bunch of other little filters. My goal is to add on the recent form section the ability to have just like a bunch of presets, or maybe you just want strong finishers or strong putters or bombers or accuracy specialists. Basically, we're going to have a bunch of presets that I'm going to have here, so you don't have to sit and enter all this, but we're going to give you as little or as much customization as you'd like, so that you can have 100% control on what inputs are going in. And then, of course, which I know will be most important to all of you, we'll have an export for the rankings and an export for the lineups for what you're looking to do. So, all in all, that's just a really quick overview of what we have. We're going to keep pushing on it. This is our beta. This is our 1.0. And then every single day we'll look to improve upon it. So we hope you really like it. We're looking for your feedback, and we're excited for it moving forward. Thanks, guys.